American Hammers Radio presents Fortune's Always Hiding.
The thought of the DeLorean being the sponsor for West Ham, I think, would be the most West Ham thing next year.
Yes, our first sponsor change for our great, wonderful championship season, the DeLorean. Right? It's amazing.
What they should do the first game of the season, player introductions. Everyone comes out in a DeLorean and just like the door opens and they just pop out. I think that would be the coolest way to start off the season, like kind of like a space age 1980s sort of like vibe.
That's right. So even if we don't go back up, which we probably would not, I'm sure we'll talk about that later, we would still be so damn cool.
Yeah, it's definitely cooler than the Chevrolet endorsement.
Dude, I mean, I know they get a lot of money from that, probably more than we've ever gotten for all of our sponsors put together. Yeah,
probably more than we're worth.
Yeah, Chevy buys them at least one transfer a year, probably.
Yeah, that's actually probably a close, accurate statement.
All right, and on that note, welcome into Fortune's Always Hiding on the American Hammers Radio. My name is Zach. I'm joined, as always, by Chris and by John. Guys, what's been up with you?
Nothing much. Just same old work and school and watching West Ham disappoint us always.
Yeah, pretty much the same, except for the school thing. Instead of I'm just being a dad and trying to keep up with a 14-month-old. So, yeah.
And remember, SpongeBob jokes always work on them.
He doesn't know what SpongeBob is. Dude's never watched television. My wife is a speech language pathologist, and she would put every single one of you guys over her knee and spank you if you tried to make, and not in a fun way, and try to, if you tried to get my kid to watch TV.
Wow,
honey, if you listen to this, I love you. Don't worry, she doesn't.
And on that note, so yesterday was the Super Bowl. I just happened to be down in South Florida, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going. So I went to the Super Bowl. First ever one. Security was a nightmare. Just really quickly before we talk about West Ham. So security to get into, there's you get in line, and they pat you down, make sure you don't have anything, and then they go and check your bags, and you go through a metal detector. The first place we went to said they would not check bags. They would not allow you in with bags. And this was security for everything. Once you got through and scanned your ticket, you were in. And that was the most bullshit thing ever, because there are signs literally everywhere saying, clear bags only, 12 by 12 by 6. And they literally had cards. If your pocketbook or wristlet was too big, they could measure it. It was the most bullshit thing I've ever seen. And we had to go to another line and get in. Security was a fucking nightmare. You have years to fucking plan this. I've been to two Olympics as well. And the two Olympics were so fucking well done. And that's the gold standard. I also went to the World Cup, and that was very well done. But
Zach, have you been to a Premier League match?
Not yet, but I have been to the London series last summer.
I'm sure you heard my interview with Lee many, many years ago. It was like 4 months ago, where I described going to Upton Park for the first time. And if you didn't, because I know you didn't, I'm going to go ahead and just tell you really quickly. I was frisked by the largest man I've ever had touch me in my life. He was about as wide as Carlton Cole Lane on his back, and long way. I'm going to guess 6'10". And he looks at me, and I'm wearing an overcoat because it's January. Could you step aside, please, sir? And yes, for all you English people that listen to this, my English accent is absolutely atrocious. Feel free to make fun. And so I step out of line, and he starts searching me, frisking me, and not just waves his arms over me. He's going to town, man. He's like there was no part of my body that was hidden. And so this big group of Cockney dudes roll by, and they say, "Oh, check it out, bloke, he's well tooled up," because he thought I had weapons. Right. So looking at bags going into the Super Bowl is not that shocking compared to the level of security you see in a lot of these things.
Not looking at bags, not allowing bags in. That was the problem. They weren't allowing them in that specific gate. So we had to go to another line, and when we got to the line was so fucked up. Security had no control over the situation whatsoever.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's 4 hours. It's 2 o'clock. It's 4 hours before kickoff. You expected a little bit of organizational skills with something that's been planned for so long, and it just was a gigantic mess. The World Cup was so run fucking smoothly.
Well, dude, this is the same country that's get the TSA right. I mean, we've known how that works forever, and I flew out of like the same trip, I guess, and they broke the lineup into different parts, and I breezed through it. So yeah, I'm not that confident in America being able to queue.
Yeah, security in this country needs a massive overhaul. Anyways, let's talk about West Ham Liverpool.
We have to.
We're putting it off, people.
What a disappointing game. Well, I guess in all seriousness, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Going into the match, everyone was predicting like 5-6-0. So 2-0 felt like almost like a small moral victory for us.
Yes. So Jeremy Ngakia, Ngakia.
Ngakia.
I was taught by Irish Tommy how to pronounce it, and I could not remember it.
He'll remind you on Twitter.
Yeah.
I have no idea. It says that he's an English international. I have no idea his cultural heritage. I would actually like to learn it because it's a weird spelling. It's a weird name. Anyways, he makes his debut at the age of 19, so good for him. We're getting back to the Academy of Football. We're bringing in youth. Yay, Moyes. You get a thumbs up for that. All right, so the game goes on. Really, nothing really major until about the 30th some odd minute, and they get an Issa Diop screws up and gets a yellow, and then as they were looking at the yellow to make sure that it was a yellow, they were also looking at a handball and whether or not it was a handball or not. Did you guys think it was a handball?
I mean, if you're looking at some of the other stuff they've called this year, sure. Was it really a handball? No. But was Declan Rice's really a handball? No. So, I don't know.
Well, let's just remember who we're dealing with.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Liverpool, who earlier this season had Virgil van Dijk, an arm above his head where the ball hits it, come down and nothing given. Oh, it's all good. So, I mean, under definition of the rule, yes, whether we like it or not. I mean, again, like you said, the whole Rice thing, it shouldn't be a handball, but under rule of law right now, yes, it was. But for Liverpool, obviously, things kind of cut differently.
Yeah. So for me, I know that the ball changed direction before going to his foot, but I couldn't tell if it was his arm or if it was his body that hit the ball. I would need another angle. If there was a closer down low angle looking forward, I would have loved that. Also, if we could get a corner pole camera, kind of like what the NFL has with the pylon cams, I would love that. I realize that that's very expensive to do, but again, I'm thinking ahead. I'm innovating.
The Premier League doesn't have the money.
Yeah, bullshit. It's the most popular.
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's just the risk. I mean, you see how many people celebrate with the corner flags by hitting them. How
many times in an NFL game do people hit the pylon going in?
But it's located internally in the pylon. This one would have to it's a flag post. Unless you thicken the size of it, it's going to be sitting on the exterior of it.
No. It's all because they don't want any more cameras. They don't want any more technology. They finally got VAR correctly. In fact, I mean, we'll talk more about VAR later, but it's a complete disaster.
They need an innovative American owner who wants to come over there. They need a Lamar Hunt type to come in and be like, you guys are doing it wrong. I can make you a ton more money. We just need to do this, this, and this. And then at the owners meeting, vote on it, and they're not going to vote for it, but you need a general support that way. Anyways, am I being too American right now? Yes, I am. But that's a story for a whole nother time.
You need an American to come show you guys how to run things over there. Don't worry, we can do it.
So Liverpool scores, and the first half goes on like pretty much that. And other than a no-ball yellow at the 43rd, there's really not much more to talk about in the first. But I do want to bring up ball possession stats. Liverpool outpossessed West Ham 72-28 in the first half alone. And dangerous attacks were 29-13 to Liverpool. West Ham only had one goal attempt. One freaking goal attempt. I
can interject real quick. You could have guessed that from the get-go, not just because it was West Ham versus Liverpool, but just from the base lineup, going 5 at the back like we did. We were anticipating being on the back foot, having to defend more. So those stats really don't surprise me all that much.
Yeah, but I mean, like as soon as you go 5 at the back, if you let one goal slip through, what's your game plan?
You always say we don't have one.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how are you going to come back if you've got, 5 people at the back? And look, guys, we can go ahead and address this now. The 5 at the back thing, he's doing it because he worked the first time, and it looks terrible this time. It has been atrocious every time he's tried it.
Yeah, we're jumping a little bit ahead of ourselves, but in terms of relevancy, I mean, going up against Brighton, I did love the 4 at the back. We at least put some ambition into it. I don't think that the 3 or the 5 at the back works, especially for the players that we have. Had he been given some more time, or not time, I shouldn't say, but actually more financial freedom and being able to bring in the players he probably wanted to be able to institute that. Maybe it would have worked, but
I think it's the opposite. I think it's the fact that like he doesn't feel that he has the players to play 4 at the back the way he wants. So it's a fear-based tactic. He's reverting to describe as 3 at the back. With 2 wing backs, but it never works out that way, right? They always retreat, and then we always end up weak in midfield, and so it actually makes us more vulnerable rather than less vulnerable.
Well, the issue is always, too, he doesn't throw 3 center backs out there. He puts Cresswell in the back line.
So stupid.
So I don't know if it is a personnel issue, if he doesn't trust the 3 center backs that he has, or if it's like I've thought about before. I mean, if you need to, you can almost rotate around into a flat back 4 with Masuaku pushing up. I think that could be it, but it just doesn't make sense to me.
No, I mean, and because he's clearly lost faith in Balbuena after that disastrous showing recently. And then who's our other backup center back? We got Reed, who's supposedly going to go to the MLS, and then Cardozo, right? Who's like, 19 or 20, and he's never played. He's never started for us. Yeah.
But if anything, what that match against Liverpool shows is that you utilize the youth player more. Play more. Ngakia comes in and has a almost like, I wouldn't say a worldly, but a hell of a first performance.
He had a strong debut. I will say that he was at fault for some serious errors where he didn't follow his man. And against that. You know, in the Premier League, boy, you do that once or twice and it costs you a goal. But to be very fair, it's nothing that Masuaku doesn't do every single time he plays. So, I mean.
And it was his first outing, not just for West Ham, the first team, but in the Premier League. And it was against a team that hasn't lost this season. So, I mean.
No, I think he did well.
I know people were slating him early on Twitter that I saw, but I might just give him time. Let him grow into the game. Let him grow into the system, or what little system there is.
Oh, I liked him.
I also thought he should have been given a run out against Brighton.
Well, so we need to move on because we've still got a shit ton to talk about. All right, going on to the second half, Lanzini. Well. What the fuck's wrong with Lanzini? He had 2 great chances in that game. He had a great chance in the 14th minute, and then in the 49th minute, he kind of just towed it. I don't know. It was just really bizarre. Normally, he would destroy that. Last year, that would have been in the back of the net, and we would all been celebrating. But he's falling apart. And then the second Liverpool goal, we get beat on the counter, and Lanzini just runs into him as if he's like doesn't know how to play FIFA and just thinks that, oh, I can just hit stick him, and tries it and falls down and they score.
Yeah.
You can't defend like that. You cannot defend like that. Not in this league.
Well, he also doesn't really defend, period.
Well, that's beside the point. You should know how to defend better than that. Unless your name is Pele, you should know how to defend better than that.
I mean, that's been a criticism of his forever, and he's been such a beautiful passer of the ball and a great runner with the ball that we've forgiven a lot of that stuff. But now that he cannot seemingly pass it to a teammate and he can't score and he's running, he will run with the ball, but he runs into 3 defenders and loses it. And so I think he's shattered in terms of confidence. I think that he is so in his own head. We have been terrible. He's been terrible. And now the supporters are on his back. Everyone hates him. A player faster than West Ham supporters on our own players. I mean, it's sad. That's something that I really wished we were a little bit better about.
Yes.
I mean, but it's true. He's been playing terribly for a long time, and so he needs to sit. And I don't know what the answer is, because I feel like if we sell him, he's going to rediscover himself and be great.
Well, that's how it kind of goes with us. But I mean, for me, he just looks like I saw it on Twitter, and I think it sums it up pretty well. He looks like a boy amongst men out there right now. He can't hold on to the ball. He gets touched and he's on the ground, or he loses it. He can't connect. He can't score even when they're open goal sitters almost. So I just don't see. I know Moyes is infatuated with him again from the first time. I think he's trying to revert to a lot of what happened his first run through West Ham. But even then, that wasn't a great success. I mean he did what he needed to do, but he limped over that line. So there in the post-match interview, he was even invoking, saying, "Oh, I need him like I needed Arnautovic last time." I don't agree with that at all. He's totally looking to the past and not looking at what we need now.
The past can sometimes give you answers, but in this case, it's not going to. And he needs to realize, the faster he realizes that Arnautovic is not here, we have Sebastian Haller. Sebastian Haller at least wants to be here now. What does he want to be here tomorrow? I don't know, but we need to start playing better and looking to the past and looking at Lanzini in such great form. What happened? And just thinking that he's going to be in such great form now is not working. He's not. He needs to be broken down and rebuilt like the $6 million man.
Yeah, and to your point, John, too, with selling him, with such a massive contract, he's getting paid £100,000 a week. I don't know how much we'd be able to get for him. I don't know who would even want him at this moment.
We must have the world record for selling players and having to pay part of their salary so somebody else will take them off their hands. How many times have we done that?
Stat to learn.
It's unreal. You hear it all the time.
But I mean, after the season at the final season at the Bolin, and the season or two after that, and even this summer, he was getting sniffs from Liverpool and Juventus. Yeah. Now we'd be lucky to sell them, and that is such a massive hit on the books. Well, and that's going to be just allow just another excuse for the owners of not being able to sell. Oh, our wages are too big.
Honestly, I feel like he would do pretty well in Spain. He's got more time on the ball where it's a slower pace. He could rebuild his confidence down there. Go somewhere like, I think he'd be great at somewhere like Fiorentina, really good, tradition of playing football. Maybe, it seems like Conte's buying every Premier League player he can get his hands on. Maybe he goes to Inter and becomes like, the sparkling jewel, pun intended, of Conte's resurgence. Because he doesn't look like the pace of the Premier League is just passing him by at the moment. And, something you said kind of made me think of, he looks like the 19-year-old out there making his debut, not like, where Ngakia really didn't look that bad. And so he looks like a kid who's coming up, who's out of his depth.
Yeah. And it's really, really sad that guys that this is happening to him, and there's not much we can do about it. And
I like him.
So do I, but at the same time...
12 days from now is his 26th birthday.
Yep.
He should be in the prime. Yeah,
Well,
he should be in the prime of his career, and he's taken such a massive step back that he looks like he's a youth player again.
So my only thought would be to loan him out to a Major League Soccer side for half the season, call him back in August or July, and let's see how he does, because Major League Soccer starts later this month on the 29th, and I honestly think if you put him with a team that needs a midfielder, Inter Miami needs a midfielder, DC United probably needs some guys, but if you can get us to build his confidence back up, like Major League Soccer, look what I did to Rooney. Wade Rooney, oh, my career is done, I'm going to Major League Soccer. No, he arrives his fucking career, and now he's playing for Derby.
Dude, no disrespect, actual disrespect to the MLS. No one wants to go there when they're 26.
Yeah.
That means he would be giving up, and not only that, but it'd be a terrible league for him to go to, because some like 24-year-old American who like was really bad at playing football destroy him out there, and he's not going to be able to really show and shine the way he really has the ability to do. I'm not saying the MLS doesn't have some wonderful technical talented footballers, but like I said, I think he needs to go to Spain. I think he needs to go to maybe even the correct Bundesliga team, and I think he would really shine and do well.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, because we had deadline day, Chris, we're going to let you talk about this.
All right.
What the hell was the drama with the guy from Hull City?
So apparently he took a 13-hour train from Hull to London. It seems.
13-hour train? What?
No, it's a joke. Every update. Oh, he's on his way. My God, how long is this train ride?
Yeah.
But in the dying hours of the transfer window, we actually put in for a extension, a 2-hour extension, and within that 2-hour extension is when we ended up sealing the deal.
Wait, hang on. You can do a 2-hour extension? I didn't know that.
You can actually. I believe also if you needed to, you could file all of the paperwork and then do the medical after the deadline.
Huh.
It's the paperwork
that's if you're Arsenal.
Yeah.
Everybody else has to kind of stick to that deadline.
So do you have to fax the paperwork in? Do you have to scan it in, or what? How do they?
I don't know how that works. I just know that you have to submit.
I feel like they do have to fax it.
But
I was thinking they need West Ham have to use carrier pigeons or something to get to the FA.
Yeah. But in the long run, we ended up sealing the deal for him. I think it was just like £22 million, somewhere in that region.
Something up front with like $8 million in bonuses or something like that. I think, yeah,
something like that. I think he may also have a relegation release clause. So I mean, there's even more incentive to keep us up then, so that way he can automatically just go.
I think something that I read was that he was fighting the fact that every one of our players has like a 50%.
Every single player within their contract has a clause that if we are to get relegated, their pay automatically gets deducted in half.
It's cut in half. Yeah, crazy. And so basically he was like, yeah, that's a real chance. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, everybody gets it. And he was like, oh. And so we were like, this is going to make or break our transfer window. And it really did. I mean, like,
it went down literally to the last second. And that was, so I am doing helping with a research study. And we were in some training for it on Friday. And I had my phone on the desk with me, and I just had X on notifications, just waiting for the English flag, eyes sideways emoji, and the irons emoji. When it finally happened, I'm just like, oh, thank God. But the thing, though, that annoys me, I'm extremely happy about this signing. Finally, they brought in some English talent, promising talent, instead of passing him up like they did with Madison and letting him go to Leicester. But my God, we could have done that. We had a whole month to do it, and you had to file an extension on the final day to get it over the line. I mean, that is the ultimate of procrastination.
We're a shit show, man. I mean, like, everything should have been done minute one. But, I mean, like, they fired Pellegrini 2 months late. I mean, everything was, oh, wait, no, we're not in a rush. And you know, of course, there's no way we can know for sure. But being proactive instead of, like, way after the fact reactive, you'd like to think that we would not be sitting in the relegation zone right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
And, I mean, so we also brought in Souček and obviously Darren Randolph. Darren Randolph is a decent backup. I'll give him that.
Yes, he is. But at the same time, we did not sign a defender, and that hurt. That hurt. And as we saw on Saturday, we should have had a defender of some sort come in because I think that would have been – I think that – well, so the next now I'm going to ask you because I would have given him an A if we would bring in a solid defender to come in, but instead, no, he gets a B- from me. So now I'm going to ask you what grade, as if it was a report card, what grade do you give Moyes for this transfer window? And yes, I understand that he came in with literally no time to do anything and get set up, just figure out our strengths and our weaknesses and see who we need to bring in. But it's problematic.
It's tough for me to give Moyes something for the simple reason being that I think that this falls on the board yet again, just not willing to either spend or the fact that we only have one scout employed. It just doesn't make it for Moyes. I feel like I almost sympathize with him a little bit more than anything. If I were to give it a grade, I'd give the board a C+, B- as well, because they brought in players that, especially Souček and Bowen, who are younger, hungrier, and kind of fill a need that we had. But the fact that they left it so late and it was just nothing but, besides Bowen, it was all loan deal. So for that reason, like it's more on the board for me than Moyes.
Yeah, actually, you know what? So just looking at talent-wise, at the quality that we brought in and not at the timing of it, I would actually give it a B because the three major areas we really needed to address, I think were addressed. We had to and Randolph, if he's fit, and he sure was. I mean, let's be fair. He came in and deputized completely fine. In fact, Fabianski's the one that had the error that led to a goal. Even though there's some controversy with that, but I thought Randolph did fine. None of the goals that went in on his watch I felt were attributed to him. And then center mid, man. Center mid was the biggest issue for me, and I loved what I saw from Souček. In fact, I really annoyed all the other people at West Ham Philly at Stowe's Bar because I kept going.
I wanted to talk to you about that one as well.
Oh my God, yeah. So at least I didn't make a complete ass out of myself.
So a little bit of a backstory. For those of you who may or may not know, I do the post-match live streams each and every week, or basically every game. This week, though, Irish Tommy, my normal co-host, was not able to join me. So last minute, Tim finds Liam out in California for me, and then he's like, "Wait, I also have Katie from Philly." I'm like, "Oh, okay," and not really thinking too much of it. Katie joins in the call right as we're starting, and she's at the bar, and she's just screaming her head off. And then all of a sudden, John appeared.
Well, they asked me to do it, and I was like, I can't do it, man.
Yeah. And she ends up passing the phone to this guy who I have no idea who he is. I've never seen him on the show, never once heard his name, and he's just recording himself on her phone, just forehead and nothing else.
Man, he's a good dude. But yeah, well, Katie was in a different state than I was.
Yeah. Oh, she was in a older state.
She was doing great. And I was trying to jump in and, say a little bit of stuff, just because, me, I like to run my mouth. And, it was fun to see you. The reception was terrible. In the bar, it was atrocious. Outside, we could barely get internet. That was kind of a hilarious thing. In fact, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to talk to Chris later.
I immediately texted or DM'd Tim afterwards. I'm like, well, that was a shit show.
Katie, if you're listening to this, we love you.
Yes.
So you guys saw the scene that I saw with Hrytzik, that he looked fantastic in his debut. I really think that him staying in the lineup was going to be great. So let's talk about Brighton, Hove, and Albion.
Yeah.
First off, that's a terrible name. But I guess nothing is worse.
That's a very traditional name, and it's Albion is one of the most storied names for England. So
didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so and Hrytzik comes back. We're playing 3 up front. I was thrilled seeing that. We'll finally get 3 up front. I'm like, 3 up front, 3 up front. In the beginning of the year, Tifu Football made a thing about Sebastian Haller and how Sebastian Haller was so successful at Frankfurt, and it was because he was playing 3 up. They were playing 3 up front, and that gave him the opportunity. When he gets the ball in an attacking situation, he can either pass the ball, he can dribble the ball, or he can shoot the ball, and that allowed him to be very successful in that situation. Frankfurt, however, when we first got him, we were playing him solo, and that didn't work for him. But I saw massive improvements offensively, and I think getting those 3 goals really showed to me, and to Moyes as well, that this is the way to go forward offensively. I don't know what you guys saw, but that's what I saw.
I really hope so as well. I'm trying to remember here. Where was Snodgrass playing at?
On the right.
It was on the right? Okay. I couldn't remember. For some reason, I was thinking he was in midfield, and I was going to say, even though it was 3 up front,
it's because he cuts in constantly. So he's on the right, but he's constantly cutting in.
Yeah. But yeah, I still struggle with Haller. I love the 3 up front. I think if we inject Bowen into the right, or even as almost like a number 10, I think that'll do wonders. And then Anderson out on the left when he comes back into fitness. But for me, Haller, I just don't know about him. I still struggle with him. Yes, we don't accommodate to his strengths, and I get that and everything, but he doesn't help himself. He's not trying to adapt. He's not trying to succeed for himself. He's just kind of like, there's nothing here helping me. So I think that's going to do really well. I think the critical error in that match, and we talked about a little bit on the live stream, was Moyes' substitutions.
Too late.
We're in the second manager this season who does not know how to utilize substitutions. Masuaku should never have come on. We should have never changed. I think Mikel Antonio should not have been taken off, regardless of his level of fitness. He was the difference maker.
Somebody on Knees Up Mother Brown made this amazing point that we played 5 people that were out of fitness. And so eventually we're going to have to sub them off. So, basically we sacrificed the last 30 minutes to accommodate the first 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's a definite argument to say that that's true, or that that's okay. Clearly the result showed that it didn't work. But to get to the original point, I saw 4-3-3, man, and I was pumped. I was like, oh my God, we're doing it. Like, we're really doing it. We're changing 4-3-3. And I was like, look at that team. Look who's playing. And like, in fact, the only weakness I saw was Snodgrass, and Snodgrass scored 2 fucking goals. So I was confident telling people, don't worry, Bowen's going to take Snodgrass's place. And like Snodgrass does to all of us all the time, proves us wrong every single game. God bless you, Snotty, you genius.
Well, but also look at his free kicks. His free kicks were amazing. The first
Beautiful.
The one to Diop, he was just there and was able to hit it home. Like,
well, Diop looks better up top right now than he does as a center back. I mean, that was a beautifully taken goal. Are you kidding me? He stretched that like Inspector Gadget leg out. It was insane. He looks great.
I'm gonna have to, when we're done with this, I'm gonna have to watch Inspector Gadget because I love that movie. I feel like a little kid now.
No, dude, we need to bring in like Sam Allardyce just to coach Diop and just to be like, mate, put it up on the other side of the pitch or in row Z. That's your job. Don't pass it. Don't try to get it back to the goalkeeper. Just do this. I'm going to sit over here, drink a pint of wine, and you just kick it as hard as you can. Big gorgeous bastard.
Those lessons actually would have done well because him trying to get it back to Fabianski cost us the second. So
that's my point. Like, just kick it. Kick it really hard. Pretend you're an 8-year-old who's only had an American soccer education because that's all they teach us. Boot it, right? So just boot it.
Okay, so if we do bring back Sam Allardyce in any capacity, can we pay him in Big Macs?
Yes.
No, why?
No. We need to figure out how Andy Reid gets paid for the Chiefs and pay him in that because Andy Reid is as big as a man as Sam Allardyce is.
I got a big soft spot for old Sam Allardyce, that lovable scoundrel.
Actually, hang on. I would love to see a Super Wrestling match. Andy Reid, Sam Allardyce.
Oh, my gosh.
Sam wins.
Yeah.
Sam wins. He's crafty, bro.
I don't know. I got to give a couple of...
Crafty. He's got a lot of money from getting little cuts and pieces from, stuff all over the place. He's not like dirty, winky, airy. He's not a redknapp, but, Anyway, I love the 4-3-3. I thought Souček was amazing.
Yes.
Not because Souček would be in the back, like helping out, like intercepting a ball, pressuring someone. And the next thing I know, you guys are talking about Allaire. Like, Souček was the one supporting Allaire. Like, it was nuts. Like, Allaire would bring the ball back, bring the ball down, and Souček would be the one, like, there for the layoff. Souček was ahead of him a few times.
And
I was like, oh my God, we have a box-to-box midfielder.
And an important point to make is that he's already up to speed in the Premier League.
He looked like he'd been playing for us all season, except we would have like at least 5 to 10 more points if we had. Like, he was. I don't know. And I'm bigging him up a little bit too much. We still drew, but I thought he did as well as he could.
No fault of Souček.
No, he played. I thought it was a wonderful debut. I'm very excited to see kind of what he does. But the issue is that Souček is great, and we need another central midfielder who can eventually take Mark Noble's place. That's what we need, and Mark Noble even knows that. Yeah,
he's been saying it in the past.
Yeah.
That's what I've been trying to wrap my brain around, looking forward to the Man City match. I honestly don't know who to put in that midfield. Or I shouldn't say Man City. I should say once we're up to full strength, because now we have Fornals, we have Souček, Noble, Snodgrass, Rice, potentially Bowen. I just don't know how to accommodate all that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing moving forward, but it's just I don't know how to configure it.
So I don't think most people do. To be quite honest, I don't think most people do. I think it's like it's having too many toys as a young child and not enough time to play with all of them. And you're just going to be looking at some of them and you're going to be like, I don't like that toy anymore. I want to get rid of it. And next thing you know, it's at Goodwill. And then a couple of days later, it's like, what happened to blah, blah, blah toys? Like, they donated to Goodwill and they cry about it. But because that's probably happened to some kids. But at the same time, it's a problem that he's going to have to face. But I want to talk for a minute about that second goal. So I was watching the highlights when coming up with the outline for this podcast, and one of the things that struck me as bizarre was it said that in the past 10 minutes, between the 64th and 74th minute, West Brom had
West Brom.
Why the fuck did I put WBA?
No one had to know that you did that.
Brighton. It's been by the way, it's been a very, very long past.
All good.
30 hours. Anyways, so Brighton had 75% possession, and that struck a chord with me because we were playing so well in the first half. And let me pull up our position. So in the first half, we actually only had 42% ball possession. Seemed like a lot more, didn't it?
Well, and Moyes is not one of these possession-based managers. Moyes is he's a little more like Allardyce, where it's like the ball needs to be in the right part of the pitch, and then you need to be hard to break down when you don't have the ball, right? So at least Moyes, it looks like he believes in pressing, which is good, which is most possession-based teams believe in pressing. But he's not one of these possession-based managers like Pellegrini said he was, even though we couldn't hold the ball then because we couldn't pass it.
Wow.
It's a separate issue. But, I thought when we had the ball, we got it up quickly. We were dangerous. We looked, great going forward. Second half, we as soon as they scored right off the bat, we got spooked. And when we got scared, we started misplacing passes. One mistake leads to another. Then they get that idiotic goal where the ball is trickling back, and Ogbonna should have just said, "No, Diop, you're obviously not getting it. I'm going to kick it out." Then Diop was like, "No, I'm going to get it." I don't know what he was trying to do. It looked like he was trying to snake charm it. Like he got down and he's like, about to like sing to it or chant to it or something, and it's going to rise up.
He was trying to kiss his boo-boos.
It's so bizarre. I don't, because Fabianski was standing there like, "I'm not coming for it. What are you doing?" And then it allows their attacker just to come through and just poke it awkwardly past our entire defense. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. I mean, clearly Moyes had a part of that because he set up the team. And that's when they took possession, they took control of the match, and they were pressuring us, so we got spooked into making mistakes. But at the same time, you expect a Premier League center back to be able to deal with that situation, and we didn't.
Yeah, I have no idea what he was doing. And overarching for me, I think the biggest issue I had with that match, with it being a draw. Now, for me, had Brighton managed to fight back and they just turned out to be the better side and able to score a couple goals on us, it would have been one thing. But two of those goals were self-inflicted.
Yep.
And the third, I mean, we're going to get into it, but I don't think it should have been a goal, for one. But regardless, it shouldn't have been in that position to begin with.
No, you mean the guy who always scores against us standing by himself while three of our defenders are on the other side of the goal? Is that what you mean?
7 goals in 10 matches against us for Mr. Glenn Murray.
If he only played against us, we would be talking about him the way we talk about Ronaldo.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, everything was self-inflicted, and I think that's the biggest heartbreaker for me.
Well, so in the lineups, and when they were announcing him, it's like, and Glenn Murray, who hasn't gotten a start since September, who always finds a way to score against West Ham. Like, do we have to remind us that we can't stop this guy? And he's just like that leak in the dam that doesn't want to go away.
It feels like every team has at least one player like that. I mean, for the longest time, it was Lukaku.
Oh God, him.
And Murray now we don't have to worry about Lukaku because he's in Italy. But
And we've always been, are you struggling? Have you not scored in 10 matches? Are you going through a bad period of form? Play West Ham United.
Then come on down. You're the next contestant on Score Against West Ham. Yay!
That's right. And look what happens afterwards, man. Like Everton were doing so terrible. They play us, they win, and then they slowly find form again. And I mean, it's going to happen. Man City just lost, right? So we're guaranteed to lose.
Well, so hang on. Have you guys ever heard of the Exploding Heads?
The band?
No, not the band. They're an ESPN UK thing. Ian Five Ankles. Go on Facebook and look them up. They're hilarious. But they were doing Premier League thing for what you get your Premier League fan in your life. And when it came to West Ham, it's like this West Ham welcome match. Like ding dong. Oh, hello. Here's 3 points. Thank you. Come again. And they leave. And it was just kind of like.
Harsh but fair.
Harsh God. I'm like, Alan, is there Andy? Andy, I love you, but that hurts. I actually met him. He's a really funny dude. He's a really nice guy. He does all the bad British commentary stuff. So if you ever seen bad British baseball commentary, he does it. Oh, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
I'm sure. Maybe I should start doing bad American cricket commentary.
I don't want it at all. So.
They're yelling wicked again. I still don't know what that means, but
and they're jumping around like a bunch of banshees.
That's right.
And he puts up a finger, and they're number one. They're number one. Anyways,
how can any sport have something called a century? It makes no sense to me.
It's 100 runs. It's 100 runs.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Oh my God,
I've had so many English people explain cricket to me, and every single time at the end of it, I look at them and I go, it doesn't make sense. And they're just like, you are the thickest piece of shit I've ever. And I'm like, I don't get it.
It took me years to understand cricket, but now I understand the game enough to be able to go to a game and enjoy the game. Trust me.
I've never even attempted to learn cricket, so
it's tough. It's tough. It takes a lot of time. Super over.
It's just fun frustrating English people as well. So I mean,
that I can help you with. But the Super Over last year, the Cricket World Cup between England and New Zealand, was the most dramatic sports thing of the last year. I could not believe that they were tied at the end of 50 overs, and everyone's just standing around up their noses going, what the hell do we do? And they're like, it's a super over. You get no one's out. Go for it. And I was just watching this going live like, oh my God, this is so dramatic. I was yelling and screaming like a mad idiot. And anyways.
Zach, you've lost every single person who isn't English that listens to this podcast.
So basically everyone.
But I don't know, so we lost, but I don't know about you guys, but it looked like we lost a lot after we were up 3-1. We just kind of took our foot off the gas, and hit the brake a little, and just played, oh, you want the ball? Oh, here's the ball. Oh, you want the ball? Okay, here's the ball. It's kind of like when Socrates played soccer in the Greeks versus the German philosophers in Monty Python Flying Circus.
That's funny.
We don't know.
That's funny. That's hilarious. Yeah.
But seriously, and they were just kind of like, they lost all drive. They didn't want you to back up the dump truck and pour it on. They just wanted to just pass it around and not care. I'm like, you can't let your foot off the brake at all in this league. They're going to eat you alive, and that's exactly what happened.
No, you're right. I mean, you're absolutely right, man.
And because of that, we're now bottom 3. We were only above the bottom 3 at the start of the week due to goal differential. Now we are what?
I think we're a point behind.
We're in 18th year. We're a point behind Villa.
Yeah.
But we are 2 points behind 15th.
So can we talk a little bit more though about the substitution situation? I've got something I want to say about that.
Yeah.
So the first thing is, I think because like when exactly did Masuaku come on? I'm trying to look right now.
74th minute.
So I don't think important substitution. It was Solly March coming in for Aaron Moy. Solly March played like Pele. He played like, I mean, we made Solly March, which everybody out there, I can't see you, raise your hand. How many people know who Solly March is? I do, because I remember some people on Knees Up Mother Brown saying we should have signed him a couple years ago. That's all. That's the only way I know who he is. He came on there. like we had no idea how to play against him. He made us look like a bunch of kids chasing a ball. I mean, he played us off the pitch. He came on in the 72nd minute. Then we were like, oh, they're getting the upper hand. I know what we'll do. We'll put on Masuaku for Antonio. And when I saw that, actually, I wasn't worried because I was like, oh, that makes sense. He's on the left. We're going to keep the same formation. Masuaku's going to play attacking left. That's fine. It was not fine because then we reverted to that stupid 5-back system we've already talked about. We completely stopped pressuring their attacking fullbacks, which let them get up the pitch. Next thing you know, we're outnumbered in midfield. We're outnumbered because we have our wingbacks are constantly out of position. They're not tracking runners. And then we're overwhelmed over and over and over. And every time the ball got picked off of us, it was Solly March, and he was on one end, he was on the other, he was drifting inside, he was everywhere. We had nothing to do with him. And what does Moyes do? I know what I'll do. I'll go ahead and firm up the situation. I'll take out Robert Snodgrass, who runs nonstop, and I'll put on Manuel Lanzini. That, to me, was when we really talking about the substitution of Masuaku, which, I mean, yeah, it's because Masuaku especially had a part to play in the second goal. He completely lost his man. They got that cross in, and that's how the ball got into that dangerous area, whatever. But Lanzini comes on. What is Lanzini going to do? I mean, like, he hasn't been keeping the ball well. He hasn't been countering well. So, like, why in the world would you put – that's when you should put Fornals on, just to run at people or someone else. Hell, put in another center back. I don't care. Just go Tony Pulis about it, like, do something. But, like, there was a completely terrible idea. And then when he finally does put Fornals in, it's for Souček. I mean, like,
it makes no sense. I mean, I understand you want to get
tired. He was probably exhausted. His first Premier League match, and he makes it 85 minutes. Come on, guys.
I do also think that was Souček's first match in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, so Souček was probably wore out, and like I completely get it. But Fornals, I mean, like now part of this, guys, is the fact that that's how weak our team is. That these are the only options off the bench. But still, seriously, put Cardoza in as a child and stick him in right beside a Declan Rice and be like, you kick the ever-living shit out of anyone that comes near our goal.
Well, so hang on. So you guys know who J. Jonah Jameson is, right?
Jenna Jameson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of her.
No, J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man, the editor for the Daily Bugle.
I thought you were talking about Jenna Jameson. No.
I don't
know who that is.
I'm talking about J.K. Simmons when he was playing J. Jonah Jameson.
Chris was talking about.
Get me pictures of Spider-Man. Get me pictures of Spider-Man. Damn it, where are pictures of Spider-Man? We need Moyes to do that and start yelling, where are people? We need people to start acting like him and get angry and get physical and get mad and want goddamn pictures of Spider-Man. I want pictures of Spider-Man. I fucking want pictures of Spider-Man.
Man, I don't know, man.
That's late, especially when we're up 3-1 and we're like, oh, we're winning. We can take a load off. No, two goal leads are the worst leads in sports.
Yeah, I get that because you get comfortable, yeah. But like, I don't want Jose Mourinho out there running around, jawing.
No, I don't want Mourinho. Mourinho does not know how to walk on a carpet on ice. Well, and just falls flat on his ass, which is still hilarious to me. But Mourinho cannot control a team well. I'm looking for somebody who can control a team well and can get his point across. Somebody kind of like El Loco over in Leeds. Look at how well he's doing in Leeds. Look, Bielsa's fucking everywhere he goes. Bielsa commands the team well.
That's because if you give him 100% complete control and you don't even speak to him unless he speaks to you first, then he is one of the most brilliant managers of the last 50 years. But there are only a handful of situations in which that can work. And no one thought Leeds would be one of those situations, but good on them for being brave enough to get out of his damn way. But that would never happen with David Sullivan. Are you kidding me?
We have literally the Dan Snyders of soccer. And it's problematic. You cannot be expected to have a winning team if your hand's in it all the time. Hell, look, when the commissioner of Major League Baseball, I don't remember who, banned George Steinbrenner from baseball for, I think it was 3 or 5 years, can't remember which, but pretty much said get out of you're only allowed to come to the games, sit down and shut up. Barely that. And the Yankees started doing a hell of a lot better in the 70s and 80s once that happened. But that took an act of God. And there's no commissioner of this league like there is in Major League Baseball. And we don't have anyone to say, yeah, get out of the ownership group. Just like get out, sit in your box and shut up. That's not how the sport works.
They do. It's called, what is it called again? The fair and blah, blah, blah person. They have to pass like a test, right? Like there's a series of things they have to do to be considered to be worthy of owning a Premier League club. But we all know that that's a joke. Basically, it means, do you have enough money? If you have enough money, you can do whatever you want. And, a lot of smug people look at me and go, that's capitalism, John. But, doesn't make it right.
All right, anyways, we got, Manchester City coming up? Or why? This is the point of the podcast, and if you haven't done so, you need to take a shot. Is we got Manchester City coming up on the 9th. We got a break. Then we have Liverpool on the 24th, and we have Southampton on the 29th. And that's probably the only game I'm going to get a point from in the next 3. And then we got Arsenal, Wolves, Tottenham, Chelsea, Newcastle, Burnley.
Yep.
Norwich, and that's April. Then we got 3 more games against Watford, Man U, and Aston Villa.
Yep.
Unless we get wins against Southampton, Wolves, Newcastle, Burnley, and Norwich, and Watford, and probably Villa, we're fucked. We are fucked.
So I've been seeing this on Twitter. There are some things that are helping us that are going our way. If you look at first of all, the other 3 candidates for the drop, because it's almost, as much as I hate to say it, it's almost a foregone conclusion at this point that Norwich and probably Bournemouth are going down. But Watford, Villa, and I believe I forget who the other one is. But we played the 3 other contenders for the drop as well. And then on top of that, Villa and Watford, every single match that they have, as bad as ours is just as bad. Their remaining games, they play literally every one of the top half sides. So they have just as if not tougher schedule than we do. And then the added benefit that we have is, if it comes down to it, is the last match of our season is home to Villa, which I personally think that's going to be ends up going to be a winner take all match.
The Great Escape 2.0. There's no better way to describe it than the Great Escape 2.0.
Yeah,
I hate to say it.
Give you the current relegation odds as according to Bet365. They heavily favorite Norwich at 1-10. Then they have Aston Villa at 10-11, Bournemouth at 11-8, and tied with Bournemouth at 11-8 is West Ham United.
So how does one bet? So if I put $100 on West Ham to go down, hypothetically, how much would I get back?
I don't know.
How do you one read that? It doesn't make sense. It's not like horse racing.
I do some sports betting, but I'm not even very... I'm not good with like 3-1 odds.
So my understanding is that usually you have to bet the first amount to win the second amount.
So $8 to win 11?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not very good odds.
Yeah, so...
Or is it the other way around? 2-1. 2-1 is...
Next time you come on the podcast, we will have figured it out and I will have an answer for you.
Guys, I don't bet. My buddy, I got some friends here who would be mortified if they heard me. But every time they're talking about over-under, I'm like, what? Huh?
Well, the over-under point spread, stuff like that, I get that. It's stuff like that I don't.
So horse race, this is why I only bet on horse tracks. Because you have like 3-1 odds or 5-1 or 100-1. That makes sense to me. That I get. You put down $100 and you get 110.
I'm smart. I only play roulette.
I was expecting you to say baccarat or something like that.
Oh yeah, a little James Bond. Though, man, I think we're going to have to do something that West Ham doesn't like to do, something that David Moyes doesn't like to do,
And that is
something that all of our fans like to do. I think we need to be brave.
Yes.
I think for the rest of the season, I don't think getting ultra conservative, I don't think going 5 at the back, I don't think tighten it up and trying to survive is going to work. I think we have to be brave. I think we have to go, you know what, 4-3-3. That's our new system. That's what we have that gets the best out of our players. Play it every match. Don't, because one of the great things about that system is it pins the opposing team's fullbacks, and fullbacks are just as much attackers as anyone nowadays. So, look at Liverpool. What are you going to like? You're going to like throw your fullbacks way up the pitch and just leave their like rapid, fast as lightning attackers up there by themselves? No. So, if we have now we have Bowen and we have Antonio. I mean, that's going to put the fear of God into any fullback in the league. Yeah. I mean, and Aller can finally be the intelligent, like linking player that he should be, and Bowen can score. So, I mean, we have to be
another key point. Bowen needs to hit the ground running.
Yeah,
there's no time for adjustment.
No, there isn't.
He needs to have a Souček where he comes in and he's like, boom, I'm here, I am good to go.
But that's the good thing about him is that he was in the championship. It's not a world away. It's not Aller who was playing.
Yeah, it might be. I know that the championship is considered one of the hardest leagues in the world. So
sure is.
I mean, it might be almost as bad as it sounds. Almost like a step down a little bit. So
it's
going up against Man City. So
he's not going to be shocked by the physicality. He's not going to be shocked by the pace. If he's going to be shocked by some of the talent he comes across, but if he's trying to run past them and rifle a ball into the back of the net, then more power to him. That's what we want him to do. So, but another thing is that if we are putting pressure on the other team's defense, we are not inviting pressure on our defense. And I think that our defensive mindset is so fragile that we need to focus on doing the opposite. We need to focus on pressuring the other team, and that 4-3-3 does that. So we need to be brave. We need to go for it. We cannot sit back and play, percentage football and hope everything works out.
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree.
And on that note, I think that's a great place to end it, because the only thing left to say is that we have Man City, and I hope to God we don't get 5 past us again.
Fix Bayonets.
Fix Bayonets? What? No.
I'll explain that to you guys after the...
Hang on. Fixed bayonets are terrible weapons. You put it on your gun, and you...
It's a reference to a movie. It's a West Ham reference. I'll tell you later.
Okay, because I'm thinking it's a Civil War reference, because I'm going to Gettysburg for President's Day weekend. I've never been. So I'm just like, for what I've learned about guns, bayonets are terrible weapons. They just god awful. It's so stupid. And anyways, why do we even have them in reserves? I don't know. Hashtag thanks Obama. Seriously though, thank you Obama for that one. And on that note, I want to thank you know the debate I'm talking about.
What is happening anymore?
I don't know. At this point,
guys, thanks for listening.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you for Chris and John for coming on. Thank you to Tim and Lee for allowing us this platform to continue to talk about West Ham United and how it kills us almost weekly now, and it may just cause us to have a massive heart attack in May. I hope to God it does. But until next week, I am Zach, and I am signing off. Goodbye. Good night, everybody.
This has been an American Hammers radio production on AmericanHammersTV.us.